Everyone, it's Alexis with Project Management Made Simple. In this video, I'm going to share with you all some things to consider when it comes to addressing the anti-pattern of Scrum teams reporting their stand-up or their daily Scrum to the Scrum Master. So the first reason this could be happening is because the team has a Scrum Master who historically has been the project manager. And so if we're talking about a team who has transitioned from traditional project management, traditional waterfall into Scrum, and they're doing all of, the Scrum ceremonies and everything, but they haven't actually had a change in mindset, then this is going to happen. This is very, very likely to happen, especially if we have an organization or stakeholders who are used to coming to that former project manager and still do that. There is a lot of work that has to be done, things that have to be unlearned, and things that have to shift in order to change that dynamic. And so one of the things I would say for teams to consider if they want to break this pattern is to openly talk about why it's happening. Openly talk about what are the things that are causing this to need to be the case. If we have stakeholders, if we have leadership that consistently comes to, the now Scrum Master to ask for status on things, then that's a coaching opportunity for them to understand where else they can get status. That can be a part of the sprint review. They can look at the burn down. They can look at the team's Scrum board, so that they can still get that information. But now we are working towards breaking that dynamic that they have with the project manager. And I realize that could be maybe an oversimplification. I think sometimes really what it comes down to is when we're talking about moving away from waterfall into Scrum, we may have leaders that are a little bit afraid of that because now the responsibilities of the project manager is distributed. And if they are so used to just having one person, then it can feel initially like a lot more work to get this information from different information radiators rather than being able to come to, the one person. I think that becomes a whole other video, but in this point here, one of the reasons why I can see teams doing this is because they're so used to talking to that Scrum Master who historically has been the project manager in a way where they are talking about status and they're communicating status. And so I would coach the teams to think about what that mindset is, to talk about that even further in your retrospective. This is something wherein if I'm witnessing this and I'm the Scrum Master, I'm going to openly discuss this with my team in the retro. I'm going to come to them with curiosity to ask them, hey, why do we think that this dynamic exists, right? And then seeing if maybe the team doesn't have an understanding of what the daily Scrum is. They may think of it as a status report. Something else to consider in this conversation could be that the team is not dependent on one another. If I have a team of all backend developers and they have all been given work to do where, their work may not be actually dependent on one another. Not as much as if I had the full stack. So if I have a designer, a front-end developer, a back-end developer, and a tester, though they collectively as a team are going to have work that's dependent on one another. And so they're naturally going to be more enticed to share with each other what each other is working on so that they can take that next piece and complete it. But if I'm a back-end developer, there may be some dependency in terms of, if I'm doing my deployment and you're doing your deployment, but that may be as far as it goes. And so in those circumstances, now we're talking about changing the setup of the team and ensuring that back-end developers are working with front-end, are working with designers, are working with BAs, are working with testers, so that they can deliver the full deliverable rather than just a piece of the deliverable. In those moments, it becomes a conversation with the team to understand what their dynamic is like and their skill sets, but it also can become a conversation with management, a larger conversation of how do we now build a cross-functional team who can deliver a full deliverable rather than just a piece of it. This was a video sharing some things that you can consider when it comes to addressing the anti-pattern of a team sharing their daily Scrum items to the Scrum Master. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please do give this video a thumbs up and feel free to leave any questions or comments below, and I will talk to you all in my next video.